Alright, we ready to get into it. Hell yeah. We got two more videos to go. I haven't been playing this game as much as I used to. I'm not hating it or nothing. I just been on to these other games. I'm most likely gonna go back to it. I think I played this game probably the other day. Not gonna lie, it was fun. Anyways, let's get right into it.
It's more than 100 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, reached some mastery levels, I can unlock all the skills, and well, there are some things that I only figured out until much later into the game, like did you know there's a secret vendor? We'll go over that, or little things, like how you can create an autosave by simply going into your inventory, unequipping an item, and then immediately equipping it again. This even works in restricted areas. So if you want more control of where you spawn, if you die, just quickly go into your inventory, equip an item, you will see the save icon appear, and this is your new latest autosave. But I also have some tricks for combat. Like one thing is regarding the vulnerable state, that you can of course easily trigger with a perfect dodge, parry or deflect in the case of Naue, and then doing a charged light posture attack that triggers the weak point hit for extra damage, but this also immediately removes the vulnerable state of the enemy. While in this orange state, the enemies cannot do anything back, and you likely have a couple of items that increase your damage against vulnerable enemies. So it's way smarter to deal a few quick hits and then do the weak point attack to maximize your damage and adrenaline gain. And this can be light but also heavy attacks, by the way. Although there is an issue right now where if you do a heavy attack on a vulnerable enemy with the Tento, the glow disappears, but they're still vulnerable, so you can still do that weak point attack. And yes, you can make this even better with the Shinobi's Fury that lets weak point attacks make enemies vulnerable a second time. So deal a bit of damage, weak point attack, enemies vulnerable again, a few attacks, and weak point attack to finish them off. Actually, an insane 1v1 trick against bosses is using the Shadow Piercer ability to make the enemies vulnerable, do some hits, weak point hit, hit again, do the weak point hit, and now almost all your adrenaline is back from the Shadow Piercer ability. It's also off cooldown, so you can just rinse and repeat this until the enemy drops to the ground. And totally use the Warrior's Garden in combination with the Shinobi's Fury perk to also remove 2 health segments with the Shadow Piercer every time you do this. We talked about this combo in the top 5 best weapons for Naue video, link to that in the video description. You get the Shinobi's Fury from just following the main story, you get it early on, and the Warrior's Garden is from a target from the Betrayer's quest that you start over here. And actually by completing some of these target quests, you can get to the maximum amount of scouts, 9. So this is very handy for multiple reasons. Some are obvious, like you'll be able to use more of them per season, but this also impacts the salvage chest in your hideout. You spawn next to this when you travel to your settlement, and in this chest you will get loot based on a couple of things. For one, your hideout rank. As the higher you are, the bigger the pool of items will be that your available scouts will bring, because that's how this overall works. If you have leftover scouts at the end of a season, they won't go to waste, and instead add things to this chest. But if we look at the tutorial message for this chest, we see that the quantity, variety, and quality of these items depends on the number of scouts available as well as the hideout's level. So yes, with the maximum of 9 scouts, you can get the most out of this chest. Like I rarely get stockpiles now, but instead save my scouts for this chest every season, because it can even include purple items with the highlighted stats that are 10% higher than other items on the same level. And as I told you in my mistakes video that I will leave a link to in the video description, sometimes these purple items are better to use than legendary gear. Now pro tip, save before opening this salvage chest. You don't like what you got, then you can just reload the save you just made and loot the chest again for completely different items. Sometimes the chest also gives you multiple gear drops versus another time you open it, so good to keep that in mind. And keep opening the chest every season, because it can get full and then you miss out on rewards. You get the first 3 scouts early in the game, also by following the Finding New Allies mission, build the study and fully upgrade it to get 3 extra scouts. You can also get a scout from completing the T-Balls mission in Kyoto by buying all the T-Balls, then invite your friends for the ceremony, otherwise you cannot get the extra scout. You also get a scout for completing the Fox and the Pirate Alliance targets, and defeat a student that you can duel after completing a part of the Mourner main mission. Then look up Nobutsuna over here on the map and then you want to go after the Monotoshi target over here. Now you have all the 9 scouts. And by the way, if you like the video so far, leave a like, that would really help me out. And subscribe for more Shadows content like this. Now you should not completely sleep on the stockpiles after fully upgrading your hideout, because they can give you a ton of money. You can namely sell the hideout resources, and you in particular want to do that at a very secret vendor. They are called the itinerant vendor. On the map they will look like a port trader, but they are actually quite different, as they're not at docks of towns, but instead in random spots in the world. I now know about 3 spots that you can see right here, and shout out to Comfy Seafarer on Reddit for sharing this as well. But you have to be lucky that they show up at these locations, because it's sadly completely random and seems to change every season. You will only see the icon appear when you get close to it, so it's a bit of a trial and error. But why this vendor is so special is, for one, because they sell gold. You can use this to upgrade any item instead of spending crafting resources. As I told you before, I would hold on to these for future level cap increases, because I think the crafting materials required will then increase as well. But yeah, they're very rare, so it's kinda wild that you can buy them for 6,640. The real game changer here though is that you can also sell resources at this vendor at a much higher price than other port traders. Like, I get 30,000 for my crops here, while at the itinerant vendor I get 46,000, which is a huge difference. Now overall, the sell prices at these port traders differ per season, so good to keep that in mind as well. But as always, you can get the most from these itinerant vendors. Now, I don't see Ubisoft add a ton to the hideout in the future. That would require some extra resources. But still, maybe smart to hold on to some of it. But I do think it's safe to sell most of it for a ton of cash when you encounter these shops. Another thing you maybe already noticed is that the ground strike is really strong in this game, so you want to use it the right way. If you namely throw an enemy on the ground when they still have armor, your ground strike will first break the enemy's armor and not deal any damage to the health. Like, even if the enemy has a tiny bit of armor left, you will break that first, so deal 0 damage to the health. So it's way smarter to focus on breaking the armor first and then do an ability that pushes the enemy on the floor. Now your ground strike damage goes towards the health. And the damage for these attacks is calculated based on 3 things, by the way. So 1, the weapon type you are using. The Naginata namely deals the most damage with a ground strike for Yasuke. 1 extra health segment on level 60 to be precise. So if you knock someone down with a Kanabo ability, smart to switch to the Naginata to get the extra damage in. The level of the enemy also matters, so here against a level 59 Guardian with the Katana, I do 4 health bars. It becomes 3.5 when that same Guardian type is level 60, so on my level, and it becomes 3 when the Guardian is 61, so 1 level higher. While again, the Naginata deals the most, 4 health segments against the same level 61 Guardian. Also, the level of the weapon you are using matters here. This level 38 Kanabo does around the 2 health segments, while a Kanabo on my level does 4 to the same enemy. I actually do a crit here, so instantly kill them, which is also possible. For Naoe, the Kusarigama does the least damage with the ground strike, while the Tento and Katana do the same in my testing. And a great way to throw enemies down with her is, by the way, the lightning kicks ability that you can do with any weapon, and by upgrading that you can actually knock down multiple enemies. So remove their armor first and then bam bam, you can deal a lot of damage. Of course, if you found anything interesting while playing the game, let me know in the comments down below. If you know more about these secret vendors, of course I'm also curious to hear that. Subscribe for way more Shadows content. I will keep you up to date on all the DLC news of course as well. And check out the mistakes video for if you are curious by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.
Okay. We got one more video, then we can get into some gaming content.